Hello, and thanks for purchasing the Hey It's Your Birthday template. In this tutorial I'm just going to do a quick overview of the project and how it's set up, and to show you a little bit of the organization and quickly where to find the comps to change the text and the faces and the clothing, and how to change the colors of the entire project. We have a universal color control composition, and where you can change the entire color scheme of the project, except for the colors of the clothing and the skin colors. Those are separate controls, and the colors of the fireworks in the background, those will need to be done individually. So let's go to the project panel. As you can see, we have lots of folders. We have our folder to change the clothing and skin color of each character. And these are broken down by, we have a baby character, we have our female characters, which are 2 adult women and a girl, a little girl. And we also have, of course, the males. We have a little boy and then 2 adult males. So let's move on to our elements folder. This is where we have our animated character compositions, and you'll be going to this, we're referring to this folder when you want to create new characters. And we have all the pre-comps for the different elements that we're using in this project. So like I said before, the fireworks, the balloons, the gifts, the pennants in the background for the photo montage, and our source files. They're all found in the elements folder. The next folder is called the lyrics scenes folder, and this is where we have all of the compositions for the lyrics in the song Hey It's Your Birthday by Pink Zebra, who is amazing. So please buy the song to go with the project, because obviously I think it works great. So back to our project, the lyrics are broken up into their own separate comps. So we have the wake up, hey it's your birthday. And in each of these compositions you can change the text if you need to. The entire project celebrates one person's birthday. So back to the project panel. If you go to the replace faces here folder and go to replace birthday face, double click to open up that comp, and you would just select the birthday character's face. So let's say the female 01 character, let's say her face, she's the birthday girl. You would just select that composition and drag and drop it into the timeline. So that way, for example, in the Hey It's Your Birthday comp, her face would show up here. So moving on, we have our render composition, which is the comp that you render. In our next folder we have the replaced faces here, and they are separated into the female faces, the male faces, the baby, which you can make multiple babies if you want to. And then the next folder is the replace photos or videos here, and that's for the montage that is in the middle of the project. And then the replace text here has the comps to replace the candle number that's on top of the cake in the make a wish and hope it comes true composition. So we have our, you can see it up here, this little boy is 8 years old. If you double click on the cake candle number comp, all these candle numbers, 0 through 9, and so if you have someone who's a bit older, let's say they are maybe 28, you would just turn on the layer, the number 2 layer, click the eyeball icon to turn that layer on, and then just move them so they're not on top of each other. Be like that. Then if you go back to your birthday cake composition, you'll see that the 28 is on top. And if we double click that comp to open it up, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see the layer, well, the shape layer called flame, which is the flame for the number. And if you just hit Control D and duplicate that, you can use your layer controls and just place it on the second. Oh, there it is. Place it on the second number. So back to our project panel. To change the closing signature text at the very last composition, you can double click to open this comp, change closing signature text. And this is where you would double click any of these text layers. You can change the signature, you can change any of the names, obviously add your name, add your family member's name, etc. And finally, go to the Universal Color Control folder and open up the Universal Color Control comp. Double click that. This is where you would change all the colors. So right now, for the entire project, all of anything that's orange is mapped to this layer. If you go to, and it's color number 1, it could be color number whatever. If you go to the color number 1 layer and hit E on your keyboard to bring up the fill effect, double click that to open it up in the effects controls, and then use the color picker to change that color. So let's change it to something crazy like dark green. Let's go back to our final comp, and you can see that anything that was that orange color is now dark green. There we go. And likewise, if you move on down and anything that's yellow, go to its fill color control, go to the color picker, say we change that to blue, go back to our composition, and you'll see that anything that was yellow is now blue. So that's fun. You can change the entire color scheme of the entire project just with a couple of clicks. Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to add another male character to this dance scene, and you can follow the same method or the same instructions to add any other character that you want. All you have to do is just follow the instructions laid out in this tutorial. So let's get started. Let's go to the Replace Faces Here folder first. And we want to add another male face, so let's go to Male Faces. Let's go to Replace Face Male 02, just select it and hit Control D to duplicate it. And double click. Let's go to File, Import File, our new guy. Let's put him in here. And all you do is just select and drag into the timeline. Let's hit S on our keyboard to scale this down a little bit. Make sure that chin is at the bottom. And we're going to hit R on our keyboard to bring up the rotation parameters and just rotate this just a little. And again, we're going to use our pen tool to create a mask to cut out his face from the background. So if you just click and drag around his head, all the way around. And we'll just make this really rough just for the sake of this tutorial. And there we go. There's our new face. So let's go back to our project panel, go to the Change Clothing and Skin Color Here folder, and go to the Male folder. Go to Change Male Clothing Here 02 composition, select it, and hit Control D to duplicate it. And double click to open. We're going to select this layer, Replace Face Male 02. We're going to go back to our project panel, go back to our Replace Faces folder, and select our new face that we just created. And you can hold down Alt or Option on a Mac and just click and drag over the old, the previous layer. So now it's updated with our new Male 03 layer. So again, to change the skin color, you'll want to go to the Men's Body Shape and Skin Color comp. Hit E on your keyboard to bring up the fill effect, and then use the color picker to change colors. And then if you wanted to change the clothing colors just to give him a little bit of a different look, just select any of the layers. Hit E on your keyboard to bring up the effects, and just use the fill effect in the color picker. Change the clothing color. So now let's go back to our project panel again. Go to our Elements folder. Go to our Animated Character Comps folder. go to our males, either the male character waving hands 01 or 02, doesn't matter. Hit Control D to duplicate that one. And we're going to select all of our old layers for the male clothing here 01 character. So make sure all of those are selected, and then let's go back to the project panel, back to our change clothing and skin color folder, back to our new character, the change male clothing here 03, and then again hold down Alt or Option and click and drag over into the timeline. And as you can see, our character is updated, and you'll notice that his hands are not the right skin color. So the first thing we're going to do is delete this fill effect, because it has an expression applied to it that connects it to our other character that we just duplicated. So the hands are not going to update to the correct color when you duplicate to create a new character. So we're going to delete this effect and go to the right hand and delete that fill effect again for that one. And then all we're going to do is just apply the fill effect back onto it. So when you're in your effects and presets panel, just do a search for fill and double click to apply that. And you want to use a color picker to pick the skin color. And then you can just select this effect and then Control C and Control V to copy and paste it to your other hand. And there we go. And you'll want to do the same thing for not only the arms waving, but also the jumping. So let's go to our characters jumping folder, go to the male, go to male character jump 02 and Control D to duplicate to create a new comp. And then we're going to select all of these layers for the change male clothing here 02 character. So just hold down Control and click to select all these guys. Then if you can remember, let's go back to our project panel, go to the change clothing and skin color here folder, then select the male clothing composition for our new character, and again hold down Alt to select it and drag it over into the timeline, and we have our updated brand new character jumping around looking crazy. We didn't have to do any more animation, all we did was just replace the layers. So let's do the same thing for the face. Let's select the replace face male 02, back to our project panel, back to our replace faces folder, find our new character, select his composition, hold down Alt and click and drag. And then you remember the deal with the hands. Let's select the hand layer, hit E on your keyboard to bring up the effects, and just delete that fill effect. Do the same thing for the right hand. Then let's go back to our effects and presets panel, and we should still have our fill effect brought up. Just double click to apply that to the hand layer and select the correct skin color. Now all you have to do is select that effect and hit Control C to copy, select the right hand and Control V to paste. So you want to do all that again for the character holding the balloons. So let's go back to our project panel, go to Elements, Animated Character Comps, Characters Holding Balloons, and then select the male character holding balloons 02 and Control D, duplicate. Double click to open. Select your old male clothing compositions, all the layers, to our new character's male clothing. Hold down Alt after you select it, click and drag it down. Boom, updated in the timeline. Same thing for the head or for the face. Let's find our face again in the project panel. Hold down Alt, click and drag, and then you know the deal with the hands. Just delete the fill effect then reapply it. Select your new color for the skin. Then all you need to do is copy and paste that effect onto your other hand layers. That's it. So let's go back to our dance composition. It's just number 11. It just says hey. We use that twice in this project. And that comp is found in the lyrics scenes folder. And again, it's number 11. So we already have that open. So what we'll do is we will select the female character waving hands 02, which is layer number 7. And we're going to duplicate that. Keep that selected. Go back up to our project panel, the elements folder, the animated character comps folder, go to our arms waving folder, to our male, our new male, which is number 3, male character waving hands, hold down Alt, select and drag it into the timeline, and then using our layer controls, we're going to move this guy over and kind of have him in the background. What's going on with his face? Oh, we didn't replace his face. And go back and handle that situation. There we go. And here we are. So we added our new character to this dancing composition. So if you want to replace this new character into any of these compositions where you have your characters jumping, you would do the same thing that I showed you earlier to replace the layer. So let's go to our first lyrics comp. Let's go to Wake Up. We'll double click to open that one, that composition. And let's select the male character jump 01 layer. If we go back up to our project panel, elements, animated character comps, and then our characters jumping, go to males, select our male character jump 03, and then you know what to do. Hold down Alt, select it and drag it into the timeline. And now we replaced our character. So that's all you need to do to replace any of the characters in this project. Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to add photos to the photo montage. So let's get started. Let's go to our project panel and go to our Replace Photos or Videos Here folder. And as you can see by the title, you can either add photos or videos to the montage. So let's double click to open the Replace Photo 01. I'll just show you this quickly. As you remember from the preview, at the end of the lyric where the singer says, hey, there's like a camera flash, and the first photo you see is a still from this sort of dancing composition. You can turn that off or delete that and add a different photo or video if you want to. And all you need to do is go to File, Import, File, navigate to your folder where you have all of your photos. Just select one, click Open. We're going to drag and drop this into our composition. If you hit S on your keyboard, you can scale that down or scale it up, whatever you need to do. If you go back to our final comp, go to our photo montage, you'll see that our composition is updated with our new photo. Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to replace the face on one of the characters and to change the skin color and the clothing colors for that one character. So let's get started in the project panel. Let's go to the Replace Faces Here folder. Let's go to the female faces and double click to open the Replace Face Female 01 composition. As you can see, we have a placeholder in here. You can turn that off or delete it. And we're going to go ahead and import our photo that has the face that we're going to use for this character. So you can go to File, Import, and then File again. I'm going to choose this lovely lady. we're going to just grab that JPEG and drag it into our composition. And we're going to hit S on our keyboard to bring up the scale parameter. We're just going to scale that down. Make sure that the chin is right at the bottom of this composition and that her entire head is inside this comp. Now we're going to take our pen tool and we're going to click, and if you drag you can get these little handles that will give you a little bit more control over this mask that we're applying to this layer. And we're just going to use this pen tool to cut out the face and her hair from the background. So you might want to go in and grab these little points and these handles to tighten that up a little bit. Let's go back to the project panel into our change clothing and skin color here folder. Twirl that down and we're going to go to the female folder and double click to open the change female clothing dress 01. And as you can see, our this dress character has the face for the first female character, which is the one that we just changed. So it automatically is updated. As you can see, we have this little icon down here that looks kind of like a grid. That just indicates that this layer is a guide layer. So her head is not going to show up in the other compositions that are animated. This layer is just as a reference for you to keep track of which characters are which, and also to help you pick a skin color. So if we go to the woman skin color layer, layer number 10, which is a shape layer, if you hit E on your keyboard to bring up the effects, there's a fill effect. If you go to your effects controls panel and use the color picker, and you can try to pick a skin tone from her face, so something that looks sort of realistic. So that kind of matches, so we'll just go with that. And if you take a look in our elements folder, go to our animated character comps folder and go to the females, and let's double click to open the first female character waving her hands, this little dance. You'll see that her face is updated, so is her skin color, and the hands are also the same color as well. And we have an expression applied to these hands so that when you update the skin tone in this composition, so let's say she was blue for some reason, if we go back to our waving hands animated comp, you'll see that the hands are also updated with that color. So that's important to note, because when you create a new character, which I'll show you how to do in a different tutorial, that won't happen, because if we duplicate those compositions, the expression becomes unlinked or becomes linked to the wrong comp, so it gets all weird. So I'll show you how to add a new character and change all the colors without having to worry about all that stuff in a different tutorial. But moving on, let's go back to her clothing composition, and that's distracting. Let's give her a different skin color, and we'll show you how to change the clothing. So this composition is obviously a female because she's wearing a dress, and the other compositions that are animated, they have the word dress in them, and that's because the character needed to jump in a specific way because she was wearing a dress. When they're wearing pants, you can animate it a little bit differently, but because she's wearing a dress, certain jumps would just look weird. So there's not as many clothing options for this particular composition, but there are for the other females and for the males. Just to take a look at her, so if we take the dress off, take off her belt, we can give her a different look. We have the skirt as a separate layer, and then we have a long sleeve shirt as a different layer as well. And if you hit E on your keyboard to bring up the fill effect, you can change the color of that top. and change the color of the skirt. If you go to that layer's fill effect, to change the shoe color, again, there's a fill effect applied to each article of clothing. So all you need to do is go to the color picker and pick a different color. So really quickly, let's go to one of the male clothing compositions. Let's double click to open that up. And again, we have different options. We have different shirts. We have a long sleeve shirt. We can give him a tie. We need to change that color. Yeah, same color as the shirt. That's not good. So we can give him a tie. We have a jacket as well. And change the color of the jacket. Interesting outfit. And we have a belt. You can't really see that belt because of the jacket. As you can see, we have different options for you. So when you make a new character, you can give them different clothing. You can change the colors by going to their fill effect for each layer.